Back to Wittenberg Academy's Latin course, Latin 1. We're ready for Lesson 10, which begins the Week 3 lessons. We are operating out of here, first year Latin. So let's start with Lesson 10, and this is on page 20. Lesson 10 is a review lesson, and so give the sounds of the vowels in Latin and of the consonants. So this is just practicing that you can pronounce everything correctly. So just pay attention over the course of the lessons this week and ensure that you can indeed say everything correctly. Name the cases in Latin and give the common ways in which they are represented in English. And it tells you to see 4.2. See lesson 4.2. So if we flip back there, it tells you write nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative, and how all those are used. The nominative as subject. The genitive is usually translated with of. The dative is usually translated with to or for. The accusative is the direct object. And the ablative is often translated with from or by. How many declensions are there? How are they distinguished? In which declensions are few nouns found? Explain what is meant by the stem of a noun and the base. Don't worry about that. We're going to learn all the declensions and all the endings. That'll all come together in time. Give the terminations of the first declension. And so these are words like Aquila or Culina or Galena. I, arum, is, as, is. Give the rule for the subject of a verb, the predicate nominative, the direct object, agreement of a verb. Right? Subjects go in the nominative. Predicate nominative is when the verb in the sentence is a form of the verb is, a form of the verb to be, then you have a nominative on each side. And so you would have something like Julia puella est. Julia is a little girl, where Julia and puella are both in the nominative. The direct object is the accusative mostly, and a verb agrees with its subject in number and person, right? All right. And then we have the summary of all the Latin vocabulary, and all these will be tested online with an online quiz. And look those over. You should have all of these in your note cards, and you should be studying them regularly so that these should be rather easily. And then it's also a good idea to do them backwards. If you do the note cards the way I suggest, that means you'll start on the back of the note cards and practice them with reading the English and then giving the Latin. So that's it for Lesson 10. Lesson 10 very short. We'll just carry on right now into Lesson 11. So at the top we've got an assignment box there. Make cards for this vocabulary and Wheelock's vocabulary from Coppet Duo from Chapter 2. So review, I'm on page 22 now. Review 8.2, the present indicative active of laudo. So if we flip back to page 18, there it is. And can we say this together, class? The paradigm for laudo. Laudo, laudas, laudat, laudamus, laudatus, laudant. Right. Don't make the mistake when you're saying your paradigm of emphasizing the last syllable. It's not laudo, laudas, laudat. It's laudo, laudas, laudat, laudamus, laudatus, laudant. Very good. Learn the meaning and write out like laudo. And so here are some new verbs that are conjugated like laudo. Delecto means I delight. Dono is I give or present. Expecto, I wait for. And then going over to the next column to continue with the verbs. Libero, I set free. Voco, I call. And then one noun, kista, is a basket or a box. And one adverb, non, means not or no or not. So write in Latin 9.3 part C, marking the long vowels. And so if we go back to lesson 9.3 part C, put into Latin orally. The farmer has some cows. So we did this when we did that lesson. So now they want you to write those out for practice and include the long vowels. And so as you learn your forms for laudo, laudas, for verbs, and as you learn your forms for insula, insulae, insulae, insulam, insula, you should note which vowels are long and which vowels are short. Okay? And then put into Latin orally. The athletes are winning from the sailors, are conquering the sailors. So athletae for athletes, right? For the plural, athletae, right? So that's nominative plural. And how are we going to say that we're winning? The word for winning. Did they give you that word yet? I'm not convinced they did. So let's make this, instead of winning, let's make this giving, right? They're giving to the sailors. Athletae donant, and then to the sailors would be in what case? If we're going to say to the sailors, class? What's to give to somebody, the indirect object? Wrong. The class said accusative in here. The class is wrong. It is dative. Indirect object is dative. So athletae, and then we put the verb last. So we're going to say athletae nautis, dative plural, athletae nautis donant. Right? All right. The girl sees the queen's crown on the table. The girl sees. How are we going to say the girl sees, class? The girl sees. Speak up. Puella. And then our word for see is video, or here, wit it, right? The girl sees the queen's crown. So she sees the crown of the queen. And the word for crown is corona. What case does it need to be in? The girl sees the crown. Puella coronam vidit. So what case is coronam? Coronam. That am ending is accusative, because it's the direct object. The girl sees the crown. Puella coronam vidit. What kind of crown is it? It's the queen's crown. So the queen's, with that apostrophe S, that needs to go in what case? We could also say it's the crown of the queen. So what case is that? What case do we translate with of? Wrong. The class said ablative. The answer is genitive. The class is doing so poorly this evening. Puella coronam reginae. Reginae, of the queen. Puella coronam reginae, vidit, and then on the table. Well, one assumes that would just be in mensa, on the table. In takes the ablative, right? Very good. Does the poet love the sailor's daughter? So what's the subject of the sentence? Does the poet love the sailor's daughter? What's the subject? The poet, right. So that needs to be in the nominative. Poeta. Poeta, does the poet love the sailor's daughter? Does he love? What was the word for love? To love? Love is amo, right? Amo, amas, amat. So does the poet love? So poeta, amat, the daughter. How do we say daughter? What's the word for daughter? Philia. So in the accusative, because it must be in the accusative, does the poet love the sailor's daughter? Poeta amat filiam nautai. And then to turn it into a question, we can put the verb first with that ne N-E, ne, on the end. So amatna poeta filiam nautai. Very good. The poet loves the farmer's daughter. The poet loves the farmer's daughter. Work on this one on your own. Go ahead and pause the video here. Work on number 4. The poet loves the farmer's daughter. And then when you're done, come back and I'll give you what I come up with. Ready? Pause. And we're back. The poet loves the farmer's daughter. Poeta filiam agricolae amat. Poeta, nominative, it's the subject. Filiam, the daughter, that's in the accusative because it's the direct object. Poeta filiam agricolae, genitive singular. Agricolae amat, the verb goes at the end. Right? Poeta filiam agricolae amat. And then go ahead and pause and do numbers 5 and 6. Okay, coming back. Are you the farmer's daughter? Esne filia agricolae. Esne, right? So it's are you. So we put that na on the end to indicate that it's a question. So it's E-S-N-E. Esne filia agricolae. I am not the farmer's daughter. Non sum filia agricolae. Or filia agricolae non sum. Put the verb at the end. And number 6, the woman is carrying roses in the basket. So the woman, femina, roses, that's the accusative, so that's probably going to come next. That's the direct object. So femina rosas in kista, in the basket, it's a new word for today, in kista, portat. Portat is carrying. All right, very good. All right, and then we look some conversation about the moon, a little practice conversation here. Esne luna nova hodie? Is the moon new tonight? Is there a new moon today? Luna nova cross erit. Luna nova cross erit. And just practice saying those after I say them. Luna nova cross erit. The new moon will be tomorrow. Luna plena mihi placet. Repeat. Repeat, class. Luna plena mihi placet. Luna plena mihi placet. The full moon pleases me, or I like the full moon. Cum luna plena erit? Cum luna plena erit? When the new moon happens, spatiabamur cum Carolina. Spatiabamur cum Carolina. We shall go walking with Carolyn. Viam bene videra. Excuse me, let's say that correctly. Viam bene videra possumus. Viam bene videra possumus. We can see the road well, cum luna candit, when the moon shines. Okay, very good. So much for lessons 10 and 11. Next time, lesson 12.